me tell you guys a true life story. It actually happened to me 10 years ago, but the memories will live with me forever. Although I have not talked about it on social media, but I feel like telling the story so that people will learn. It's a long story, but I will make it brief. So back then, I was in a relationship with a girl. We have been like that for a few years. But then one day, I came back to my lodge late in the night because I watched a football game on my way back from school. I opened my door and met my girl on the floor. She was motionless and her eyes were wide open. I checked her pulse, but I couldn't feel anything. Her teeth and her palms were very tight. I panicked and just froze at the spot, not knowing what to do. I immediately called a few people in the lodge and alerted them about what was going on. Before I knew it, the whole lodge was gathered with people in my room and outside the door. Nobody could tell what must have happened to her. We thought about rushing her to the hospital, but the school clinic is closed and there are no good hospitals in the area because the school was not in a good location and it was almost midnight at that time. Some people did their different types of first aid on her, trying to know if they can revive her, but after few hours, there still wasn't any sign of life. People started suspecting that she might be dead and started taking something from their room and leaving the lodge immediately. Out of 30 people living in that lodge, only one person stayed back. Even my best friend ran away. The student pastor that stayed back with me prayed and prayed to know if she will come back to life, but nothing happened. It's about 4 a.m. and the pastor told me that he has done everything he can and that he's in the house of God now. He then went to his room. It was just the two of us left in the building. I stood down in my room. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't cry. I thought about how I was going to be arrested and charged for murder when in truth I'm innocent, which nobody will believe because of Nigeria justice system. I thought about my parents, how they sacrificed to send me to school, not knowing that I was living with a girl. At some point, I thought about running away, but that would mean that I am guilty. How far can I run before I will be caught? I didn't know who to call. I believe in God, but I'm not a very religious person. I came across one pastor that gave me his number a very long time ago. Then I decided to just try my luck and call him. I called him and he picked the call immediately, as if he was waiting for my call. I wanted to tell him what's happening, but he called me and told me he had already known what was going on with me. He told me that he was disturbed in the spirit and God revealed it to him and that he started praying, but he didn't know it was for my situation that he was praying for at that time. He told me that I should not be afraid, that everything will be fine. He asked me if I have any sachet water around. I look around and get a sachet water. He then asked me to put the phone on top of the water so that he can pray in it. I did as he said. After praying, he then asked me to try and force open her mouth. Anyway, I tried pouring the water inside, then sprinkled the water all over her body. I did everything he instructed. He then told me that everything would be alright and ended the call. By then, it was almost 6 a.m. in the morning. I just stayed there with her. Then I saw her hand moved a little bit. I cleaned my eyes and get closer to her to make sure my eyes were not deceiving me. Her hand moved again, then her legs. Before I knew it, she opened her eyes and sat down. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was in shock. I was wondering if I was still imagining. Then she spoke and asked me what happened and why is her body wet with water. I rushed out and called the student pastor who came running in to witness the first miracle. He was singing praises to God. I knelt down and prayed. At about 7 a.m. in the morning, none of my lodge mates has returned. I looked outside the gate from my room and saw some of them with others gathering in small group, whistling, waiting to get the full gist of how my girl died in my room. I called my bike man to come to the lodge because I want to take her to the hospital for shake-up. I then came down to the gate with my girlfriend. As they saw her, they opened their mouth in shock and everybody was surprised. To cut the whole story short, I learned some variable reason. Cohabiting with anyone or living with anyone you are not married to is very risky. You wouldn't know the risks until something happens to him or her. The second lesson I learned was that when you get in trouble, that's when you will know that you are alone. People will run away from you. Anyway, we continued dating, but I rented an apartment for her to stay separately. I also stopped her from sleeping in my place until we both eventually parted ways after I graduated.
In this crazy life we live, we all need someone to hold, a friend to light the way when the world starts to unfold. Through all the ups and downs, the highs and lows we share.